was usually the first person Bill would talk to about anything. It was a factor of both proximity and relationship. Not the latest argument from Senator Clinton as to why she is better suited to handle crises than Senator Barack Obama is, because her husband, the president, spoke to her first. By which logic, Laura Bush should likewise be on the ballot in November, perhaps on a joint ticket with her mother-in-law. Our fourth story in the countdown, are you experienced? Have you ever been experienced? Already under criticism for having insinuated that bringing peace in Northern Ireland and opening borders in Macedonia to Kosovar refugees should be on her presidential resume. Senator Clinton today sought to defuse the latest appearance of hyperbole, the claim that she had come under sniper fire and was running for cover while visiting the airport in Tuzla in Bosnia in 1996, when the videotape clearly shows herself and her daughter being greeted by this child on the tarmac instead.
I made a mistake, and, I had a different memory, and my, my staff and others have, all kind of come together trying to sort out. So I made a mistake. That happens. It proves I'm human, which, for some people is a revelation.
Senator Obama, still on vacation tonight, has yet to personally respond to any of this, but his surrogate, North Carolina Congressman G.K. Butterfield, says the senator from New York owes his constituents and the country an apology and calls into question her assertion that it was all a mistake.
When you make a false statement or a false claim that's in your prepared remarks, that's not misspeaking.
Senator Clinton's campaign rebutting that charge, saying the remarks were not prepared in advance and sending a talking points email to reporters and supporters, alleging that Senator Obama has himself misspoken or exaggerated facts about himself at least 10 times recently. Joining me now, Washington Post columnist and associate editor and our own Eugene Robinson. Gene, thanks for your time tonight.
Good to be here, Keith.
Is that Clinton campaign response somewhat echoing of Mr. Rove? I mean, if you get caught doing something kind of red-handed in giant red letters, just accuse the opposition of having done it more than you did?
Sure, just point the finger immediately and say, well, they do it too. I'm not aware that Senator Obama has claimed to have come under sniper fire in Bosnia or to have solved the troubles in Northern Ireland, but maybe he claimed that he ate Cheerios for a whole 2 weeks to lower his cholesterol, and really he quit after a week. I don't know what she's talking about, but I guess it's supposed to deflect attention. Doesn't seem to have worked, as
far as you know. Are we seeing, though, is there a scaling back underneath this kind of, well, I'm human, ha ha ha, self-deprecating, actually charging joke at other people to follow? In this, at back of it, is there not a backing down of her claims of what she actually did, how she is actually experienced in this area, and no matter how deftly you do that, if it's done, is she not admitting this commander-in-chief gap between herself and Senator Obama is smaller than she has previously claimed that she staked this campaign on?
Well, that's exactly the conundrum. She has to back down from the Bosnia claims because it didn't happen that way. There was a smiling little girl on the tarmac, and Chelsea was there, and Sinbad was there, for Christ's sake. You don't take Sinbad on a trip where you're going to come under sniper fire. There was no sniper fire, so she has to back down from that. But this idea that she is a stronger and better commander-in-chief and has all this experience is one that she would be loath to back away from entirely because it's a central thing in her campaign. But the Northern Ireland claims are in a way almost more grandiose than the Bosnia claims. And I must say the papers in Belfast are having a field day with this. She claims to have helped bring peace to Northern Ireland. David Trimble, who did bring peace to Northern Ireland and won a Nobel Peace Prize for it, has been quoted in the Belfast Telegraph as saying it's a wee bit silly for her to make this claim, and saying, well, there is a difference between being a cheerleader for something and actually being a principal player.
Well, in her defense about Ireland, there are also participants who said, no, she actually had a substantial role, so that one's like a 50-50. But to this point of it being misspeaking, misremembering, I'm human, it was a mistake, does Representative Butterfield raise a good point here that the remarks on St. Patrick's Day they were not prepared? Senator Clinton, though, had misspoken about this, if that's the correct term, at least two prior occasions regarding the same trip, in more prepared statements, and certainly this reference to it is at least the third one. By that point, shouldn't somebody, either the senator or somebody on her staff, say, hey, wait a minute, that's not right, and what's more, there's probably videotape showing it's not right?
you think they would have realized that. I mean, if they had just stuck to the version of the incident in Bosnia that was in her book, they would have been fine. There were some reports of some fire in the hills around Tuzla, but nothing, raining down on the tarmac. It's interesting. I mean, you can pop psychologize this. We're all the heroes of our own movies, and maybe her movie is really an epic, the one in her head, kind of like War and Peace or something.
And the other moral, speaking of movies, Sinbad is in the movie, first off. It never contradicts Sinbad.
He's not in War and Peace.
He's in this edition of War and Peace. Eugene Robinson, Associate Editor and columnist of The Washington Post. Thanks, Gene. Good night.
Good night, Keith.